What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. I have the honor and the pleasure to sit down with Alexus Rae, and I'm going to run this by the book today. You're a certified NLP, MER, and Hypnosis Master Practitioner and transformational coach, helping women emotionally heal, reinvent themselves, and live from radical self-trust. I love that. She's the creator of the Breakthrough You session, and currently you've written, it's ready to launch, Evolving You, a devotional to becoming the most emotionally intelligent, embodied version of yourself. And we just happened to meet at a dinner full of the dopest cast of characters ever put in one room, led by Michael Hunter. And I was talking with Nico about this when I interviewed him last week, because I sat down across from him. You were down on the other end of the table, and it was like I finally put the pieces together as to why it is you could sit across from somebody who you don't know and be wanting to figure out where you know them from. Like they are so familiar. It's like, man, I don't know you, but I know you. And what we came to in that conversation is that dynamic exists when complete strangers are operating on the same frequency. You are so familiar with each other energetically that all that rapport, the past lives, all that stuff comes to the forefront. And it's like, hi, Alexus, I'm Michael. I feel like I've known you for a really long time, and I'm just meeting you for the night, right? So first and foremost, how did you get in that room?
I love it. Okay, so even before I got into that room, I just want to say thank you. And I love that you've been doing this tour of all of the people that were in that room, because exactly how you felt, I was like, this is the best mastermind room and dinner I have ever been in. The quality of conversation, the quality of the facilitation, like it was the most incredible experience. So when I shared with you that I was going back through getting ready for today, and I saw that you've been like checking us off the list of who was in that room, I was like, I'm honored to even be on that list. How I got into that room, it's a life journey,
Yeah.
honestly. I feel like every point in my life that I'm experiencing right now has come to fruition because of a culmination of every right and wrong choice I've ever made. And to your point in the conversation that you had with Nico, it's the vibration of us being able to recognize one another, because it's like, oh, I see you doing your work. And simultaneously, I like to think of it too that through human nature, we're all on our own evolutionary path, right? We're all on our own development. And while your path is going to be different than mine, there's certain checkpoints or there's certain things that end up being parallel. So it allows us to relate to one another while having our own life experiences. It's like this cross of, we don't have to live the same thing, but the feelings that we have, the lessons that we take away, all teach us the same things. And some of us take those lessons and continue to propel through life rapidly. And I'm sure that's everyone that's listening to this podcast, how you came to be here. So how I got into that room, by chance, the universe just delivered. Like, I mean, I could go back, Michael, so far. I'm like, I could go back to like how I really got into that room.
Yeah.
How I got into that room for that particular meeting is really my current boyfriend, my future husband. I'll just say that. I'm going to proclaim it.
There you go.
He and I joined a mastermind group, and Michael Hunter was in that group. So we were a part of that mastermind with him for a year. And in that time, we got to know him. We got to know Natalie, Michael's wife. I hit it off with her. And so in the last, I would say 8 months, our friendship with them has grown, us being on our own entrepreneurial path on our side of things, them doing their thing. So I was stoked to be in the room.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Your practice, right? And tell me about your journey to NLP.
With pleasure. Okay, I'm going to keep mentioning the universe because
It doesn't make mistakes and everything happens on purpose, for sure.
100%. 100%. So my life coaching practice, let me say unofficially, Michael, launched in 2019 at a
Mm-hmm.
time in my life when I was taking walks regularly with a girlfriend and we were just talking through life. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
here's what I figured out, here's what I've done. Meanwhile, I grew up coaching, and playing sports. I started coaching when I was 15, like basketball camps, right
Yep.
over spring break. I started coaching my first middle school team when I was a senior in high school. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
coaching was not unfamiliar. Coaching life was a little different.
Okay.
So, informally, I started having these conversations in 2019. I went through 3 iterations of launching my coaching practice
Mm-hmm.
between 2021 and, let's just say now.
Okay.
And along that journey, I know and have known that, like, the universe and my life experiences have allowed me to gain the knowledge and foresight and intuition and understanding that I need to be able to help other people recognize where they are on their journey, figure
Mm-hmm.
out what their gaps are, identify where they need to put the work in their life, and then encourage them, inspire them, give them the knowing that they have everything inside of them, just remind them of the power that they truly have.
Yeah.
That's without a question. That's all coaching is.
Mm-hmm.
But legitimacy sometimes, especially in today's day and age,
Mm-hmm.
is important, and credentials help with that.
Sure.
So I was already a year and a half into coaching when this Instagram ad came across my thing, and it was like, get your NLP practitioner certification in this 4-day course. It was
Yep.
hosted in Phoenix. I was in the middle of a health crisis. So the only reason I was able to go was because it was local and affordable. My dad actually gave me the $250 so that I could go.
Yeah.
Fast forward a year and a half, I've now done over 20 breakthrough sessions. I just finished writing my book. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm helping people release their mental and emotional energy that doesn't need to
Mm-hmm.
be stored that way. So, really, how I got into NLP was Instagram ad,
Yeah.
knowing that it was time to up level my credibility. Like, life experience is great, but someone's
Yeah.
going to want to see a little more.
Sure.
And now here we are. And at the end of this month, I'm going to trainers training, 1 week
Mm-hmm.
of that.
Yeah.
The beginning of September, I'm going to my trainers training of hypnotherapy. And we're just out here doing our best to change everyone's life that I get to work
Making
with.
it happen. Yes. When you did your NLP intro, was Dr. Matt leading it? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I did that. Oh shit. 2019, December of 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
100%. But you know, it's funny because you talk about your Instagram bringing you to it. And what I often tell people is that your algorithm is your fault.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't think about it like that, right? And with regards to the laws of the universe and manifestation and all that kind of good stuff, now that we're so digital and scroll, like you do the exact same thing in the energy of the universe out here in the real world all the time, right? You know, we use that word manifestation, but you have this energetic algorithm that is on all the time,
Yes.
you know. And so the fact that your algorithm brought you to the x's and o's of what you are already practicing is amazing, number one. Number two, that's also your fault, right? you
100%.
you triggered something inside the algorithm that said, oh, you're now interested enough that you're ready to take the next easiest step.
Yeah. And
Now go ahead.
to your point, like, that's how it all works in creating outcomes in your life, right? Like,
Mhm.
you work with high performers, high achievers, to my understanding, both in their health and, like, in their
Mhm.
wealth, their family, across everything.
Yep.
And that underlying understanding of the energy that we embody is what creates your results before it ever even comes into your
Mhm.
physical reality
Yeah.
is so important. And I think that for many people, having the algorithm show them things is almost like a light bulb of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe technology can do this. And
Mm-hmm.
then you and I come along and we're like, actually, you're doing that all the time. And if you just use that as an example, it's like almost broadening more people's horizons. But
Yeah.
I was so grateful. Honestly, like I'm with you. The universe brought it into my path at the right time, at the right thing. When
Mm-hmm.
I went to that first integrative practitioner training, also, I
Yep.
love that you know Dr. Matt. Like, stop it right now, okay? The fact that you've been to that training, you know
Mm-hmm.
exactly the journey I've been on
Yeah.
is so powerful. When I went to that training, I was almost a year on medications. I
Mm.
was still managing all of my chronic migraine symptoms, like with
Mm.
aggressive attention. I had over probably 5K in bills a month just in ongoing treatments. Like I was doing a lot to get
Holy
myself
shit.
right again.
Yeah.
And after that training, so that was in December. By
Mm-hmm.
August of the following year, I was off my meds. Now,
Mm-hmm.
July of this year, I'm a year med free. I'm like, just all of these things in my life took shape and form. And I know it
Yeah.
started with being in that room.
So here's a question for you, because this is the myth, the naive assumption
Mm.
that I spend a lot of time just bringing to people's consciousness. Because when you're in constant seeking of self improvement and you're doing the work all the time on you, right? It's really easy, and if you're new to it, right, depending on how big a level you're trying to jump, if you're new to it, there's this preconceived notion that we can allow ourselves to believe that I'm going to pay this money, I'm going to go do the thing for 4 days, and I'm going to come out a brand new me. Like everything in my universe is going to be working in my favor, right? And that's not the case. And that's
No.
that's not what's supposed to happen,
Yeah.
right? The truth of this work, and I am in love with the word practice right now. We are in the practice of the game of life
Yes.
all day, every day, 24/7. Nobody's batting 1,000. Nobody is perfect. And when you come out of these experiences, the only thing you're guaranteed to walk out of there with is a new level of awareness of what alignment looks like,
Mm.
right? Then the work starts,
Yes.
right? And I don't even like the word work. It's just you're putting the pieces together. Either it's completely shattered and you have to reconstruct a blank canvas and then start from there. That's very analogous to some people's process. And then at other times it's just like, damn, I have so many options available to me. I don't know which way to go. But when you answer the question of alignment, all of a sudden it becomes crystal clear. The fog is removed and you just start moving, right? And I feel like those are the two ends of the spectrum. But at no point do you just walk out of those experiences and then, bam, things are different. No. Nothing's different. You are different. And that's the message I don't think a lot of people receive going into those experiences and creating these naive expectations of what it's supposed to be like on the other side of them. What do you think about that?
I have so many thoughts about all of the things that you just said. So we'll maybe take it a little step by
Okay.
step. Okay. So we all know the experience of going to an event, being amped, feeling inspired. I helped 6, 7 figure entrepreneurs enroll in their program to scale to 8, 9, 10 figures, right? So, like
Mm,
high level dollars. We all know what it's like to go to one of those conferences, have the strategies, go back to your office, and get into the exact same routine, problems, and stressors that you had at the very beginning.
mm-hmm.
What you said is so imperative that it comes down to the choices that you make once someone shines the spotlight on where your attention is needed.
Yes.
And then it's our decision to continue to practice making those choices in alignment with the future vision. It's all
Mm-hmm.
becoming that forward thinking.
Yeah.
And to your point, how do people get there? I have personally lived through burning it all down, starting over from scratch more than once, where you do it in every area of your life.
Yep.
And I've also had the pleasure of being able to do it a little bit slower, like one area of life at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
both experiences work. Both are gonna get you there. One's gonna be a little more tumultuous, and one's gonna like feel a little more sustainable. Either
Yep.
way, you're gonna survive both ways. It's totally
Yeah.
up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that we're talking like you're a high achiever, I'm a high achiever, I would not be surprised if many people listening to this are not of the school of like, let's burn it all down, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
okay,
I'm
let's burn it
I'm
all
very
down.
much I'm on the record, right hand to God. I'm a recovering credential chaser. It's like, man, I can't go to enough school. I can't get enough certs.
Mm,
And that was because I wasn't right with my own journey.
mm-hmm,
It wasn't until I had mentorship that put a spotlight on the inciting incident of my hero's journey. It's like, dude, if that doesn't happen, that thing that you've been running away from for the last 20 plus years,
mm,
none of the rest of this happened. So you've got to stop trying to not tell it, and you got to figure out how that moment served you.
mm-hmm,
And oh my gosh, it was such an empowering conversation because now getting kicked out of the Air Force Academy, instead of telling that story from a place of shame, I get to tell it from a place of sacred. And that energy, same story, totally different energy. And that realization was such a catalyst for me in what I'm able to do when I stand in front of rooms now. Because
mm.
before it was like, man, I'm like, hey, my resume says XYZ. Don't worry about that other thing. As opposed to, no, I needed that to become this. Totally different set of circumstances, a totally different spin on my life's narrative. Right.
And that's you consciously choosing the perspective that you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have on this past experience, which coming back to manifestation, the energy, creating results, there's two realities that we all live in. The physical reality that you and I are both in a room right now, and there's a desk in front of us, and we're speaking into a mic, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
physical reality that we all experience. There's a second reality that's 100% internal, and
Mm-hmm.
that is okay, Michael, I see you sitting on a black backdrop right now. Well, I love the color black, and I think your setup is beautiful. Or there's the internal story or perspective that I could choose of like, oh man, you got a black background? Like, how lame. I don't see any credentials back there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing what perspective I'm going to have of this physical reality. So we're always living in two realities. And when
Mm-hmm.
we choose the one that allows our internal to be truthful, to be aligned, to be powerful, then you're really stepping into what you're meant for.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going back when you were um, sharing all of these beautiful things from like going to the training and how we find these new alignment and these new choices. I spent so long in survival mode that I couldn't even make clear choices.
Oh.
And so sometimes
Mm-hmm.
some of the women that I'm working with, I work with men too. Primarily, I help women because I
Mm-hmm.
relate to them on our own level. Sometimes it's just being able to get our nervous system down enough so that we can hear what
Mm.
is in alignment with those new choices.
How long would you say you were in survival mode habitually?
Until January of this year,
When did it start?
when I was about 5 years old.
Oh shit. Okay. What was your moment of awareness that like not so much changed everything, right? But more so like, oh my God, like I'm in survival mode. Like I know like what was the moment where you're like, I know something needs to change. Not necessarily that you knew what to change, but just like a change needed to be made. Those are two totally different things.
100%. And there's a readiness also between recognizing that something needs to change, actually changing it, and then there's this internal permission of like, okay, we're about to take this journey and I'm going to do it. That moment came for me in 2020, summer of 2020. I hit my emotional rock bottom. It
Mm-hmm.
started what I now call the season of life, my emotional becoming. And in August of 2020, I share this in the book openly. I was just ready to give up on life. And I knew one, the perfectionism that had driven me to that point was also the thing that kept me alive. I was like, I can't do this the way that I'm thinking of doing it because it would ruin people's opinion of me. So, like, literally, the thing that had gotten me there was also the thing like keeping me here.
Mm.
And the
I think
conversation,
that's, I'm gonna pause you right there because I think people think that, to your point about two realities, like those two things can exist, right? That really toxic, like if I got rid of that, my life would be different thing. Also, in a really interesting way, serves you.
100%.
And I think that there's people dismiss the utility of these negative attributes when all we're going to end up doing is replacing them with things that serve a greater version of us, but at the same time understanding, because that's a very powerful question that I'm sure that you help guide your clients to as I do mine. It's like, what purpose is that serving? Why do you
Mm,
keep going back to that? Why is it not only familiar now but comfortable, even though we can objectively take a step outside of ourselves and acknowledge that that's not good for us, right?
yeah.
But there's a utility to it.
So we live in a world of dichotomies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from some of your other podcasts too, you're a man of faith.
I believe in something bigger than me. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
love that. That works for me. Okay. So we live in a world of dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the thing that is bigger than us, whether it came in creation or the big boom, however it works for you,
Yep.
opposites came into fruition because the only way to know the light is to know the dark.
Yep.
And the only way to know that all of these things that have been our experiences weren't actually quote unquote right or wrong, I've really started to steer all of my clients away from that. They just are. They
Mm-hmm.
just are the choices that we made then with the resources that we had available, the information that we had available. You were doing the best we could
Mm-hmm.
then with what you had. And
Yep.
now you are further along. You can see something different. So instead of spending our energy beating ourselves up for what we can no longer change, let's focus on what you now see and continue. I call it choice training. Continue choice training the new options that are available to you because you have come this far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that being said, you hit your emotional rock bottom. You realize that a change needs to be made. So that's the awareness.
Yeah, literally, it
Our,
came to
our,
me in the
our,
moment. Like the voice in my head, my unconscious mind said, if you keep living life this way, like you will
mm-hmm.
not survive.
So that,
Like the
yeah.
line was drawn.
So that's the awareness. That's your essentially your point of no return. Now,
The
when you
second sentence that came, I'm going to stop you. The second sentence that came was, there has to be another way.
Okay. So this is really important, and I love this that we're taking this stepwise. When you get to that line in the sand, like something needs to change. If you keep doing whatever, do you, in our core values, integrity, courage, and ownership, once you have that awareness, you can't unsee it. And and
Mm-hmm.
and from that point forward, you are choosing that existence. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay, so
Now,
what happens now?
yeah. So I 100% agree that once you have the awareness, it becomes your power, your responsibility to make new choices.
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to making those new choices, that is a journey. And for us to set expectations that just because now I have the awareness, I'm going to 100% make choices in alignment with who I now know I am is unrealistic.
Yep.
So 100%, you can never go back to what you have not unseen. I like to like it to the red pill, right? Matrix. Like there's no unknowing what you now know.
Yes.
And you're not going to be able to fit yourself back into that box. And as you continue to now explore this expanded version of life that you just stepped into, we have to have the ultimate amount of grace, compassion, and patience for ourselves. And that, Michael, takes me back to how you said, like, the word practice for you is big and relevant because that's all it is. I like to think of it as we're training for the Olympics of life.
Yeah.
And every single day you are in training. And some days you might have a 10 out of 10 PR, like just freaking crushed it in all of your choices and all of your conversations and how you showed up in everything.
Yep.
And then there might be other days where you are a 0 out of 10. And we don't really care about the short term. What does this look like? We're playing a lifelong marathon. These are the life Olympics. And so we're looking at the consistency that stacks up over time.
Right. Okay. So you have that moment. This can no longer continue.
Yeah.
I will no longer allow it to continue.
Yes.
What's the next choice that you made?
The very next day, I emailed my therapist.
Let me back up. Was this a moment where you burnt it all down or you started to build it back slow? Which way what are we talking about right now?
Great question. So at this point, I was in the middle of burning it down. So I had burnt it down in 2018, started over. Okay. Then realized in 2020 that the path I was on was not my own.
Yep.
And so this was a slow return. And like I think you said it too, sometimes we go fast and sometimes we don't. And when we don't listen fast enough to the energy of the universe, the direction that is pushing us, it's going to get you there regardless. So I started taking steps. I started taking slow steps. And the signals I was not listening to fast enough. I was not listening to them close enough. So a year later, I was in a car accident where I sustained my 6th brain injury and was on short-term disability. I did 8 months of outpatient rehab. That accident is what led to me burning it all down for the second time, actually moving to Arizona. And it was an escalation of all these signs, all of these signals. Hey girl, go this way. Like this career is no longer for you. These friends are not your people. And I was too slow. I was comfortable. I was like, we'll get there. You know, the age old saying is entrepreneurs build plan B as you have plan A. Like I was walking that line fine. And then the universe was like, no, girl, we have got to go. It is time. So the first action I took was to get back into therapy. Stayed in therapy, started taking better care of myself, was on the way. The car accident happened. That changed everything. And it was 8 months after the accident that I moved to Arizona. So it was like slow, no longer can go slow. Lifetime out. You're rehabbing from this accident. That was another huge choice. Like coming from, you've talked to many people on this podcast. You've talked a lot about trauma. All of us have our own traumatic experiences, right? How we register in them can be different. Some of us have high tolerances. Some of us have low tolerances. You and I, probably being caught from the same cloth, have a high tolerance, right? So like I had a high tolerance. The universe was like, no, girl, like it is not, you are not supposed to have this tolerance anymore. So she
that
sat
tolerance
me down.
is working against you now.
Yes.
Yeah.
She sat me down during my short-term disability, and it was 6 weeks into these 12 weeks that I had off of work, and I had made basically no progress. Like this was my 6th concussion, 6th brain injury. This was the first time I had ever had the option to fully rehab. Like, okay, I'm not trying to work at the same time. I'm not trying to do all these things. Like, I couldn't function, Michael. I couldn't drive. I could barely take the trash out to the curb.
You had like a 12-week pause from life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 6 weeks into that 12 weeks, I had made no progress, and I realized that the only person that could change that was me.
What were you telling yourself for that first 6 weeks?
Oof, that
What
is
was
such
the
a good
what
question.
was the narrative?
Yeah. So it was a little mm, convoluted.
Mhm.
When we walk so far away from our true selves, same with our nervous system. When our nervous system's so high that you can't see the choices, when you walk so far away from your true self, to even
Mhm.
get clear on your own voice of like, what are the choices I need to make next to walk me back towards this, they're just unclear. So in those
Mhm.
first 6 weeks, I was obviously sad. I was stressed about trying to figure out how to file my FMLA paperwork. I was stressed about finances. How am I going to pay for this?
Mhm.
Talking with insurance companies and trying to do the exercises. So I had gotten into rehab, started rehab within a week of the accident.
Mm.
It was too intense. And so part of it was like by week 6, I had to go to my therapist and tell her, I know you're giving me these exercises. I want to do them and I'm trying. I do one rep, meanwhile, or I do one set. Meanwhile, I was supposed to be doing 3 sets 3 times a day. I could
Mhm.
barely do one set once a day without being sick.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to finally flex my voice. And I think that's what the universe was helping me do then, is like
Mhm.
pick my body, pick what I need to say
Be an
out
advocate for
loud.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that changed. As soon as I was like, I only have 6 weeks left and they expect me to be back at work and like I'm still not functioning,
Mhm.
it has to change. So I walked in, I was like, we have to do it different. Like I want to get better. The way we are trying to do it is not working.
Yeah.
And we changed the exercises, and lo and behold, I mean, I still didn't return to work 6 weeks later. I actually ended up resigning from that job
Yeah.
and transitioned. Here we are, right? Burned it
Mhm.
all down, moved my
Yeah.
life forward. But it started with walking into that room. And just to back up, Michael, that was like building on itself.
Sure.
So I had that breakdown moment in August of 2020.
Mhm.
I got back into therapy. The other thing that I had to do was go to my boss and tell my boss, I'm not okay like in life,
Yeah.
and I'm want to manage this better, and in order for me to manage this better, I need your help
Mhm.
holding me accountable to some work life boundaries of I
Mm.
can only work 40 hours a week right now.
Are you a people pleaser? Like what was your vice that was creating that dynamic? Were you just saying yes to everything?
High achieving,
Okay.
overperformance, compensating for my self-worth and being,
Mhm.
great for everyone.
Sure.
I was hungry in my career. So like I was raised by entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
It was good, it was great. Then I went corporate. I was like, I am about to climb this freaking ladder. I'm going to be a CEO of a, multi-million dollar company. Like this
Mhm.
is my jam. So that's the road I was on.
Yeah.
60, 70 hours a week easily
Yep.
in the off season, more hours than that in the on season.
Mhm.
And that was also like the culture of our office. I was in commercial roofing
Yep.
distribution. So like it didn't matter when or how long, but the work got done, right? I
Yeah.
came from
Mhm.
trade. So,
Yep.
and that's the same with sports. It's
Sure.
all the same
Mhm.
mentality. So I
Yeah.
had to walk into his office and say, like, I am actually not okay in life.
Mhm.
I know that I need some work boundaries. And I also know that I am not going to be great at holding these boundaries myself. And
Mm.
I need your help to hold me accountable to these things that I'm telling you that I need.
How receptive was your boss to that request?
Life changing. It
Really?
was the best. He
That's
was the
awesome.
best boss. And
Mhm.
okay, I've had two really good bosses.
Mhm.
That's not true. I've had many good bosses.
Sure.
But in that moment, how he
Mhm.
showed up, he was like, whatever you need. He
Yeah.
didn't ask any questions. He didn't
Mhm.
anything. Now, obviously, at that point, I had already been there for a little
Mhm.
over 2 years. I had
Yeah.
earned that,
Sure.
but he didn't have to be
Yeah.
that kind.
Mhm. So what was if you had to put like a number on a metric on it, like how much courage did you have to summon, or how deep were you in that hole that were for you to cross that threshold and have that conversation?
Yeah, my life depended on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There
Yeah.
was no other option.
So now you've put this into practice. This is part of who Alexus is,
Yeah.
right? At what point did it click to you that you could transmute these behaviors into other areas of your life? Like self-advocacy in rehab. Ooh, shit. I'm also not speaking up for myself in my relationship or wherever. Like, when did you start connecting those dots and creating those connections?
Yeah. Isn't that the best part about growth? Is that once we learn how to change things in one area, you can
Mhm.
literally do it in every area of your life. Like,
Because it's a universal principle. That's what it is. That's what allows us to do that. There's this amazing book called The Kabbalion,
mm,
and it's it's on my short list of rereads. And it's not heavy, but it's deep.
okay.
Okay, and I haven't committed all 9 principles to memory just yet. However, there's only 9. And
Mm,
when you extrapolate it across every area of your life, health, wealth, relationships, time, like they all show up everywhere, right? And like my wet dream for the planet Earth is that we all get to a point where we can recognize these universal principles, and then your dogma dies, religion, or how we practice those principles becomes so inconsequential because we understand within ourselves and in others that that's their chosen practice of these principles.
mm,
And once I understand that that's what you're walking in, I really don't give a shit how you do it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? As long I matter of fact, I fully endorse it by all means. And I'm going to do it my way, and we're all going to come together. We're going to have an amazing conversation, and that rising tide is going to raise all boats. Like that's the idealist in me. And
Mm-hmm.
I look at the way we train. I look at the way that we coach from that place of principle. Once you start looking at it from that framework, all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's the application that works for Alexus?
Yes.
But we're talking about the same thing.
Yes. 100%. All, I think all roads lead to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point of this like place of principle, so tying that in transformation, for me, it started with my emotional well being.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually kind of start to go into this in the book. And knowing that you've been with Dr. Matt, you're going to know exactly what I explained. So, in my book, I describe our 4 bodies that make us up as human beings as
Mm-hmm.
our 4 focuses. And the entire point of Evolving You, which is the title of my book, is to bring your 4 focuses into harmonization so that they're all working together, because when everything about yourself is
Mm-hmm.
functioning the way it's supposed to, in alignment with the direction that you want to be going, and has all of the space to create, which is really what we are, we're creators, then everything about the principles that we live by can come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my clarity on principle, my clarity on values has come in the last few years after I got out of the emotional survival, after I got
Mm-hmm.
out of the mental merry-go-round that I've been on as a high achiever, as a let me just say overachiever. Like all of us want to be high achievers, but like the
Yeah.
overachiever to the point that it becomes a detriment to your life, like
Yeah.
that was the category that I put myself in,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love also, you called it the Kabbalion book. Is that
Mm-hmm.
based like on the study of Kabbalah, like Kabbalah?
No,
Okay.
it predates. It's based on the Hermetic principles. So
Okay.
it predates the Bible. It predates dare I say, written history. But yeah, it's on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes for everybody. Dude, I nerd out on that thing, and I revisit it like when I'm feeling stuck. I'm like, oh man, what's not in harmony right now? And
Mhm.
you can literally just like pull a principle apart. It's like, oh shit, okay, there it is. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, just to like bring it back, instead of going to 9 principles right now, I check in with my 4 focuses.
Yeah.
So the first focus being our physical body. You've
Mm-hmm.
obviously heard me and my physical body have been through like quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could tell you even more. Kidney infections, like hospitalizations,
Yeah.
all the things. Because my body, which was this communication signal between
Yeah.
our unconscious mind, you already know all of this,
Mm-hmm.
is happens in our body. So my body was talking to me. I was totally bought into the age old, like, I'm not listening to you. We're pushing
Yeah.
through. I know my body's going to quit or I know my mind's going to quit before my body does. And
Mm-hmm.
then my body was actually quitting.
Yeah.
So I had to address that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Then I had to address my emotional focus. And that
Mm-hmm.
emotional focus was speaking up for my body. It was speaking up for my boundaries. It was
Mm-hmm.
working on taking up space in my relationship with my dad. It was learning how to be my healthiest emotional self in a relationship with someone else and
Mm-hmm.
also by myself. Like
Yeah.
that took maturation and development.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the mental focus. And that's that perspective that I was sharing, right? We live in 2
Yep.
realities. So, what perspective are you going to allow your mental mind to run away with? That's our
Yep.
conscious mind. It's the thinking that makes up all the stories of our life. And
Mm-hmm.
then, last but not least, is our spiritual focus. And your spiritual focus is where that knowing of your aligned direction is. And that spiritual connection can really only come online in its truest, fullest form when your other 3 focuses
Mm-hmm.
are harmonized and they're working and you can listen to all of them. So that's how it works for me currently,
I
as far
love
as
that.
principle goes.
Yeah. No, 100%. So, and it's a very simple framework. And, that's very much how we approach our practice with our clients at Next Level is looking at those 4 dynamics. And I love the fact that you use the word harmony. I feel like it is not used enough because everybody wants fucking balance.
Mm,
And balance doesn't exist
yeah.
because I have the honor and the pleasure of being the officiant for one of my clients' weddings this coming spring, and I just had my first conversation with them as a couple. And I've been working with him for, oh my god, like 8 years,
Wow.
and like
What an honor.
right, the growth that he's experienced and that I've been able to experience alongside him has just been absolutely incredible. So the fact that he's found his person to continue that journey with is absolutely amazing. And one of the things we work through consistently is, you know because he joined the fire department and he was in real estate and da da da. And he's like, dude, the balance, the balance, the balance, the balance. I was like, dude,
Mm,
you're gonna kill yourself. You're gonna work yourself into an early grave. It's not real, right?
yeah.
In your relationship with your lady, it's 100 and 100. It's never going to be 50-50. And what that 100% commitment is going to look like from one day to the next could be very different in terms of the load that you're carrying for each other. You might be 80, she might be 20, or vice versa. Or you might go through a season of 60-40s, but it's very rarely going to be 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point about our 4 states of being, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, which compound on each other, by
Yeah.
the way, if the physical vessel isn't taken care of, your emotional regulation is going to suck, which is going to compromise your emotional clarity and inhibit your ability to show up as your highest and best self, your spiritual self, right? So, like, it all makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
you know? However, creating this dynamic where we understand the word harmony, where the imbalance is intentional, right?
Yeah.
I'm in a season of my life where my relationship with my wife, my kids, my family unit require my loving attention, in stark contrast to what I'm able to contribute to my business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, I'm going to have to delegate, create some infrastructure, build out some systems so that I can create the dynamic that I'm looking for in my home life and really put some concentrated effort in that department, right? And you're just working your way back and forth, and as you evolve as a person and the seasons of your life change and your relationship dynamics shift and the kids grow up, like that, it's never going to be 50-50. It's never going to be balanced.
No. And I really don't like I was bought in initially when I was really going through it. Like gosh,
Mm-hmm.
I just need work-life balance. I just need things to be more balanced. And we say that in a time because one, that's what we hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also because that's all we can think about is like I feel so out of whack over here.
Yep.
Everything's going so terrible. We just
Mm-hmm.
have this craving.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really until I started writing the book that I realized, okay, the word that I'm going to use for this is that we're harmonizing our life. And I like to think of it as like a dashboard. And
Mm.
I even put this in one of my very first early journal entries. Like I did a doodle where there's a gauge for every single area of your life.
Yep.
So, career, family, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that for our best prime, whatever everyone's own level is, for me, I love functioning from an 8 to 10 in each one of those areas of life.
Yeah.
Sometimes my career takes a 10 and sometimes my health takes a 5. But now,
Mm-hmm.
with everything that I've been through, I know what goes into a 5 in my health is going to allow me to sustain that 10. And I can't let it drop at all.
Right.
Or I know with my family time, the last few months, I don't even know. And I actually want to ask you this question too about your family.
Yeah.
When I went on the track of entrepreneurship all
Mm-hmm.
in 2022,
Yeah.
I think many entrepreneurs do this. We design our business and our life backwards. So the fact now that you're like, okay, my family is taking more time, I
Mm-hmm.
need to change how I'm showing up in my business. But the fact that you even have the opportunity to change how you're showing up in your business
Mm-hmm.
probably came from anticipating that at some point in time,
Yeah.
family was going to be a larger priority.
Yeah. So much like your journey, it required a lot of growth and, dare I say, getting my head out of my ass about a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things. There was a period of my life right as we were starting to have kids where I went through a season. It feels like it was about 9 months to a year. I mean, Nicole was at the later, she was in the third trimester for sure when it all came to a head, where I was not happy at the gym because I felt like I was supposed to be doing some shit at home.
Mm,
And I was at home. I wasn't happy at home because I felt like I should have been doing shit at the gym.
mm,
Right. And, and agree. We don't compromise, my wife and I. We make agreements. Right. And if I feel like you're picking up on this, words have meaning.
mm-hmm.
And the way, not so much the word by the Webster's dictionary definition have meaning, but more so energetics. When I say the word compromise, right, most people internalize that in terms of somebody has to lose or we both have to give something up. When
Mm-hmm.
we make an agreement, totally fucking different,
Totally.
because we're serving something higher than the both of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and an agreement that I had made with my wife in the early stages of our relationship was, if I ask you how you're doing, how something's going, or if you're bothered by something and you tell me nothing, I'm just going to move on with my life. Right? It's just a very callous perspective and very
I'm
not
just gonna say
productive.
that's very
I don't
male female.
I
Okay,
don't
that's
I
just
don't I don't
very
fucking
female.
recommend, I don't recommend anybody in my position approaching conflict resolution from this perspective at all. This is fucking awful. Okay. Now, here we are. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm getting ready to have my son Tristan, and I'm pissed. Like I'm not happy anywhere because I'm nowhere. Okay. And she's making dinner. I'll never forget this. She's making dinner. I sit down at the kitchen table and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I did to her the shit I told her not to do to me. And I was like, "Nothing." She was like, "Mm-hmm. So what's really going on?" I was like, "I'm fine." She just planted she rooted herself in the fucking floor. And she was like, "Let's figure this out right now." And like, I just stumbled through it. You know, I felt called out, and just like, I went up and she just stayed, grounded, and just really, what she's doing is holding space for me.
Yeah.
Right. My inner child is like, "You should be getting mad with me." And she's not giving me that. Right. So she lets me like tantrum it out, and at the end of the day, I was able to like ugly, I don't even know how to say that word, in a very not productive way, articulate what I just told you about not being happy in either dynamic of my life. She's like, "Michael, fuck, I got this. We are good here. Go do that so that you can be here."
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh. And what I realized, I had created this assumption of what my role was, these uncommunicated and unaware expectations I had of myself and our relationship, and that if you just say the thing out loud, which is very much an active practice in our relationship now, like it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be smooth, but love and respect will be maintained, and we will fumble our way through it to a resolution. But like what's really important in the context of a relationship is that you're both willing and you agree that in these moments of friction that you're going to stand in it and hold space for each other, right? And not hold it against each other. When we've given each other permission, we've created this agreement that when shit goes sideways, however which way it does, we get to say out loud, call it for what it is, like, "Oh, that's not my shit, that's your shit. What do you need from me right now? Because whatever it is you're coming at me about really doesn't have anything to do with me." Right? Or I can't fix the action in the rearview mirror, but how do we change the feeling? I can't change what I just did, but I can make sure that it doesn't happen or I do it differently moving forward. Right. And those are that, like, in the moment, right? Easier said than done. And the active practice here that I think has the most utility is what I call set the table. I don't necessarily have the words. I just know that I'm having a feeling. Let me just get this out. I don't know if this has anything to do with you, but you're right here. Will you hold space for me? Like, just put it out there and then say the thing and just be okay with what shakes out on the other side. Because here's the other part, our core values: integrity, courage, ownership. The ownership piece, your reaction to what I say is not my responsibility. However, if I do my job in setting the table, and I really hope I'm answering your question, if I do my job in setting the table, right, we're able to down regulate any charge, positive or negative, and we're able to stay as neutral as possible on our way through the muck of whatever it is we're trying to figure out. Is that?
It's so good. Yes. Okay. So this is so good. Because my question was, in that moment of the in between, like, to where you are now, family taking up more time,
Oh yeah.
It goes back to you
So
two
okay.
sitting down,
Mm-hmm.
setting the table, having this conversation, letting it be
Yeah.
ungraceful, messy, unplanned,
Mm-hmm.
and
But
then you went to work.
and also in my own process, again, being a recovering credential chaser, if you had asked me what's important to Michael this time last year, it would have been, everything accolade driven. We're going to do this with the gym. We're going to make this much money, blah, blah, blah. Everything's like very professional in nature. Right. And I had this transformational experience in the fall. We did 12 hours a day of deep work for 8 days straight.
Mm.
Okay. And this is really important. This is one of those experiences where you're going to be like in the trenches of your own mind and emotional body for 8 days straight. How could you not come out different? How could your world not be different on the
Mm-hmm.
other end of this experience? Well, check this out. We get to the 8th day and we move through this final exercise of what we're going to take away and what we're going to do when we get back to the world, back home. And immediately I regressed. Professional this, gym that, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, She looks at everybody else in my cohort, our facilitator, and she's like, did that move the room? And I was passionate about it too. Like I was fucking certain, you
Yeah.
know? They're like, no. I was like, start over from now. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I walked away from. And this is why I'm different now. I came back from that experience understanding and knowing, being congruent in alignment with what's truly important to Michael. That's non-negotiable date nights with my wife, daddy days, which weren't uh, on my calendar with my kids. They oftentimes invite each other, but I have one day a month where it's just me and one of them. And more often than not, I get the both of them twice a month, which is super fun, right? But now, and I finished my book. So now I've built my life around those things to include my business. So I can show up and play full out in all these other areas because I've created time and space that doesn't move. Like those are the rocks of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So at the bare minimum, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, mortgage is paid, cars are taken care of, food's in the fridge, date night with my wife, daddy day with the kids, write the damn book. Everything else is figure outable, but that shit doesn't move.
Yes.
Right. And once you figure out the bedrock of what is truly important to you, what really moves the needle for Alexus, everything else, you can create everything else around that.
And
So
I want to close this loop
that's how I got here.
because oh, it's so good. There's so many loops to close. So this is how you got to this point where
Mm-hmm.
you now have designed the harmony, right,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
between home life and everything else that's figure outable.
Mm-hmm.
And it started, Michael, what I'm hearing you say is that like first it started with you getting okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like many times, especially in today's society, whatever types of pressures or anything, we just as humans
Mm-hmm.
expect ourselves to serve others before we serve ourselves.
Yep.
And in my own growth journey and my own development, now what I help other people do is recognize that we have to serve ourselves first, take care
Yep.
of you, take care of
Mm-hmm.
those core rocks that make up who you are,
Yep.
so that then you can be of the highest service to those that you love, to those that you want to
Correct.
impact, to those that you want to
Mm-hmm.
serve, and let it be the biggest and best that it could possibly be, or even figure life out with.
Right.
But it starts with getting clear on that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to manage our health in order to get clear on that. Sometimes
Yes.
we have to figure out how to let go of our emotions and let them move through on a deeper level. Like we think we've done it consciously and the pattern keeps showing up. That's where I come in with the unconscious mind, right?
Yep.
So we change all of those things, but really it starts with the fact that it has to come from the light within you. It has to come within the decision to to fan that light, to give it oxygen, to give it love, to give it attention, so that you can turn into the biggest, brightest wildfire that you are supposed to blaze this earth with.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. It's your life path is an internal game. You can, I mean, we're taught to externalize. This happened to me, like that person that was a toxic relationship and da 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 da. Like no, like it's really important. Like at a certain point, it's nobody else's fault but yours. And to your point, when you get to that point where something has to change, I can't keep going this direction. Like when you have that realization, everything beyond that realization is of your choosing. You're either choosing the shift or you're choosing to remain the same.
Yeah, that's that ownership that you keep
Mm-hmm.
coming back to. Radical responsibility, right? I
Mm-hmm.
had to take radical responsibility from my recovery from brain injury. I
Mm-hmm.
had to take radical responsibility for recovery from chronic migraine, which had absolutely no explanation, right? Talk
Mm-hmm.
to a freaking high achiever who loves to understand everything to then be plagued with a chronic illness and
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis with no explanation and then expect myself to be okay with it. Whew, talk about the digestion of that. But what I came to
Mm-hmm.
understand is it didn't matter what I understood why it was happening, where it came from. All that mattered was the responsibility that I was going to take to let my life now, with this set of circumstances,
Yep.
be whatever it could be, which
Mm-hmm.
I knew it didn't want to be the way that it was going. So it's the
Yep.
responsibility of what are you going to do with the circumstances that you have, because we all
Mm-hmm.
have the physical reality. We all have
Mm-hmm.
this other perspective that we're all living in.
Yep.
So what are you going to do with it? And now
Mm-hmm.
I love helping women get out of their own way because they're ready to do something with it.
Yeah. Which, that's the perfect place to put a cap on this conversation. Where can everybody find you, grow with you, learn from you?
Thank you. So I'm primarily on Instagram, Alexus, Alexus, two underscores,
Mm-hmm.
Rae, Rae, two underscores. And also at alexusrae.com. You can find me there. That's really it. Also, YouTube. That's coming.
Okay. Cool. When's your book drop?
Okay, good question. So that's dropping this fall. I'm going
Okay.
to do a first release actually in September for a
Mm-hmm.
mastermind that I'm going to be at, and then it'll be available Black Friday.
Selfish request. What do I got to do to get a signed copy?
We'll make that happen. Don't
Okay,
worry.
cool. Awesome. Hey, I'm grateful for you. I really appreciate you making the time and the energy to be here and have this conversation and contribute to uplifting the fittest leaders that are in the next level community. I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you, girl.
Thanks.
Remember, guys, it all starts with integrity, courage, and ownership. Go check out CoachDurs.com. We got some really exciting stuff coming over at nextlevelpfc.com. And check out the show notes for all the things that are available with our affiliates and our sponsors. Until next time, progress always.